is it desperate or desperation, or is it a bad choice for online comedian Desi Banks to do a prison skit with well-known ex-con, famously known as the Booty Warrior, Fleece Johnson?
What to do content, like to do? They saying that they want to do a skit with him or something.
No, this is the question. Is it desperation or bad choice for Desi Banks to do he did the prison skit is out with the well-known ex-con famously known as the Booty Warrior, Fleece Johnson. So he did a prison skit with him, and within the within the skit, Fleece Johnson was basically trying to sleep with him throughout the whole skit.
I mean, for okay, I don't want to go into that whole other realm or whatever. But if you look at his history, he never did jokes like this. But all of a sudden, you trying to get to a higher realm. Now you got to do these type of jokes. It's just weird to me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, not saying that that is an actual scheme or ploy, but if you really look at it, what's the purpose of it? What's the underlying joke, and what's the theme behind it? You know what I'm saying? Is there a message that you're trying to portray that sexual violence in jail is terrible, that we need to have more of an awareness of it? No, you're not doing that because you're a comedian, so you're making a joke out of it. So what is the purpose of the joke? You know what I'm saying? What's the purpose? So for me not to go into that conspiracy theory area, I'm just looking at it on a contractual basis. You have a brand that you try to build, and you at a point now where you pick and choose certain moves that make your brand better, right? So would this make your brand better? I don't know. Unless you were doing jokes like this before, and this is just part of your normal skit. I don't necessarily follow Desi Banks heavy, but a lot of his viral jokes and skits had nothing to do with being in prison, locked up, or having some kind of joke about sexual violence. And it's always funny that they always use rape, sexual violence towards men in jail as always a form of a joke, or always a form of a threat. You know what I'm saying? And it's like it's weird. I don't know. I don't. It doesn't make sense to me. But you know what I'm saying? Hopefully the skit is funny. If it's funny, then and nobody will care.
Well, for me, I think it's desperation. In the chat, they saying more so it's a bad choice. Booty Warrior was a character from the Boondock. Yes, so it's the same character that they base the person on. So for those who don't know, they you know how they do documentaries in jails and things like that. They came across a guy named Fleece Johnson. He called himself, well, he was known as the Booty Warrior. He had countless of stories of him saying that booty was more important than water, booty was more important than eating. And they took those comments and put it into the Boondocks. But to his admission, he said that during the time when he was active, like if he wanted you, he gonna get you either the easy way or the hard way. So with that particular history by itself, and you do a jail skit, and you doing a jail skit, and he's basically playing a character that he's known for, because the whole skit he's trying to sleep with Desi Banks. The whole skit. As soon as he get in the cell, he's giving him cookies. He like, yo, eat the cookie, man. And then Desi like, yo, nah, chill, man. Like, come on, Unc. Like, get out of here. They playing cards, and he's sitting across from him, licking his tongue at him or whatever the case may be. And it's like, then it goes to another scene where he's Desi Banks is sitting on top of the bunk, and like he just couldn't take it no more. He just grabbed Desi Banks by the bottom of his legs, and then they cut the skit off there. So it's like it's just poor choice, man. That's what like we're talking about criminology, and we're using this man's past, and he probably did. I don't know. I don't want to speak for no man not knowing no better, but damn, you're using your criminology and trying to turn it into a joke, but that criminology was actually, traumatizing to the people that you came across to. So it's like, how is that even funny?
Tone deaf. Just again, we in the age where people do whatever it takes for content. You get to a point where the content you've been putting out is starting to get harder and harder to put out new content and new
Mhm,
shit and this, that, and the third. So now you try to push the envelope and then you making compromising skits just for the
mhm,
attention, just for the likes, or just to keep the viewership going. You know what I'm saying?
mhm,
And it's like this one definitely was not needed. I never liked anything have remotely close to doing with jail, because anything that have to do with jail, they're always gonna put these sexual assault scenes
oh,
and make
yeah,
it mad apparent that that's what goes on in jail.
mhm,
Like nah, son. Like, you know what
mhm,
I'm saying? Like, and it's and why is that? And then I watch a lot of documentaries. A lot of other countries are not really heavily like that.
right,
There's a lot of violent offenders, a lot of murders and killers that are in um institutions just as horrible or just as worse as American prisons, but they're not nearly as sexually violent as American prisons. And I've always wondered why.
mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
I think
Why?
they made it a trope. They romanticized it.
And then if that's the case, and we have somebody of our culture playing the same thing again, it's like, bro, come up with something new. Like,
Mhm,
come up with something better. At least make it into like an awareness type of thing.
mhm,
That would have been something cool.
right.
You know what I'm saying? Something different, something outside the norm, but
Mhm.
you want to give us the same buffale.
And I'm also the type of person. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I find comedy in everything. I find comedy at funerals. I find comedy with when babies are crying. I find comedy in everything. But this in particular, it was for me, it was desperation, it was tone deaf, it was just a terrible decision to use somebody, and this is what they're known for, at their own admission, at their own admission, and put it into a comedy skit. Like I just don't understand that particular portion. Like it's wild. So and I'm not, like I said, I'm not, Mr. Woke when it comes to the jokes. I want to laugh. I want to laugh first, and then whatever the case may be or whatever. But I could still enjoy the entertainment of a good laughter. But to me, this was just out of desperation. You're looking for them views. You're looking for shock value. It wasn't even funny. And I actually think Desi Banks skits, for the most part, is actually funny. Like the boxing stuff that he did previously, I thought that was hilarious. Like I was literally crying, pause, in tears because it was so funny. He had like this boxing skit that was funny. The Jodeci skit he did was had funny as hell, but this particular skit terrible. It wasn't funny, and just the organization of it, who you chose, like, dude, you're looking for them views. Everybody's looking for them views, but that was strictly for the shock value because that's wild. All right, moving on to our next segment. Our next segment is brought to you by Bravo Section. Make sure you go to bigbravosection.com. Again, bigbravosection.com if you want to buy dope photography. Also, if you're in the Miami area, you can book a session with one of the best photographers in the world. If you're not, you can still book that session. They're going to take the train out to take care of your session. Again, go to bigbravosection.com to buy dope photography. You have a petty thought for us, petty words, petty law?